I'm Greg Nichols. I'm the Research and Engagement Officer for the DoD Information Analysis Centers. I served the United States Navy as a hospital corpsman for 5 years. Basically, I did a lot of medical stuff. Hospital corpsmen can serve in hospitals, we can serve with the Marine Corps, we can serve on ships. I had the pleasure of serving in 2 different hospitals, one at the Naval Medical Center in Portsmouth, Virginia, and then I also got to serve overseas at the Naval Hospital in Naples, Italy. I worked in the emergency room in both places and got to take care of the sickest patients from active duty folks and their families. When I worked overseas, I actually got to drive an ambulance in Italy, which was quite an experience, I'm sure you can imagine. And it was a really unique experience. I got to learn a lot, had a lot of great mentors, got to work with a lot of other corpsmen from all over the world, got to learn a lot from nurses and doctors. It was just really neat. I think for me, unfortunately, one of the most memorable things was September 11th. Out of all of my friends and family, I was one of the few people that actually wasn't in the United States on that day. I was at a Navy base overseas when everything happened. And so I'll never forget that morning. It was really a scary day. And then it turned into like this movie moment where all of a sudden every pager and beeper and cell phone that you can imagine, every electronic device just went off in this flurry. And I remember the fire chief came running out and said, guys, you need to come in here, and watching the footage, on the news. And then we get the phone call that we needed to brace for casualties because we didn't know what was happening. So that's probably my most memorable day in the Navy. Yeah, we met at the Naval Medical Center in Portsmouth. I worked in the emergency room at the time, but she worked up in the ICU, the intensive care unit. And she had a lot of friends that worked down in the ER, so she would come visit. And I would always know when she was around because the whole ER would clear out because everybody would go to hang out with her. And I would wonder why I was so busy working because I was the only one there, everybody else was hanging out with her. And then I'm like, I need to get to know this girl, right? So as fate would have it, she ended up breaking her arm. And she came in one night and needed a splint. And so I was the one that got the splinter. Of course, I engineered that, right? That I was the one that was gonna go splint her, and just blossomed from there. I decided to shift gears a little bit, and I got into public health instead. It's a little bit higher elevation in terms of what we do in public health. We look at policy things, and we look at a lot of data analysis and try to understand trends in terms of how do we make populations healthier and safer. So big transition from the world of medicine, but actually I did get to continue learning and building on some of the things that I started as a corpsman. So when I got out, I was a licensed emergency medical technician, but the state that I moved to didn't recognize that license because I didn't take classes for that license in that state. So basically I had to start all over again. So I think it's just important to understand where you're moving to and what the laws are. And also, I think the military has done a much better job now trying to bridge that gap between military and civilian careers. Even though a lot of them do the same things, the level of training is different in the military versus what that level of training would be for that similar job in the civilian world. So just understanding some of those nuances, I think is very important.